I strongly do believe that Africa is rising. I do believe that there is a lot of focus on Africa because of the strong potential, and I do believe that the citizens in Africa, want to live up to that potential.
Populations are growing, productivity is growing, GDPs are growing, Africa is more stable.
There's so much talent and there are so many opportunities in Africa to do brand new things, set up your own thing, and also I guess that kind of, not misplaced nostalgia, but this feeling of going back and being able to forge your own path in your own culture.
I feel really privileged to have spent the last 6 years working in East Africa, in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and I think what inspires me to continue working there and dedicating my career to it is there's just so much market opportunity. The sky's really the limit.
So Africa is rising, but it cannot rise by itself. It's not going to rise on auto mode. It's going to be blood, sweat, and gore. But I'm excited to put in my blood and sweat and gore.
And frankly, until and unless we as Africans get into the driver's seat and own that dialogue and the implementation of that dialogue, it's going to take a very long time, if at all it happens, that we'll move from the expected rising to the achieved risen. We need to take responsibility.
The Africans in diaspora and the skills that they can bring into doing business in Africa, it's enormous.
But I guess the Africa Rising narrative has really captured the imaginations of many people in diaspora.
We're soaking in a lot from the West and the East and everywhere else. And all this knowledge and all this competencies and experience can be better deployed back home.
You always wonder, either because people that have done it, that have moved back home and been successful at it, or just because you go home often because you have family and you always consider what are my options, what could I do if I decided to move back home.
So the network effect of the diaspora is critical. The knowledge that diaspora has gained over time and skills is important. The habit of structure that has been acquired in these various countries that we all have lived in, it's important to bring back all of this back to Africa. Let it profit you and let it profit us.
My first point to people is always, you don't have to be in Africa to work on Africa. So you need to make sure that the parameters around your life and the circumstances in which you are work for you to be able to move back or to be in Africa in order that you can truly focus on it. It's not an easy place to be, but the opportunities are indeed huge and great, and really depending on yourself and what your circumstances are.
Growing up in England and being educated here, you have so many assumptions and so many expectations. So when you move back, you can try your best to not hold those assumptions, but they are kind of dashed when you get there.
I think it's about having a certain attitude about really understanding the local environment and really getting involved as opposed to comparing it to the city you've come from.
Simple things which are just so crucial to everyday life, transport, electricity, whilst they're just things, they do make it a lot harder to do your work and do everyday life.
Yes, the environment is not perfect. The challenges are real. And of course, things are not at your fingertip, as you would here. You order a pizza just from your phone. In Africa, you have to go there, you have to go buy it. And you have to buy with cash in most places. So this little inconveniences cannot be compared to the opportunity there is.
And I suppose connected to that, especially being young, it's quite hard to be independent with those things because you find yourself relying on family and a lot of other people to do things. When I'm here, I just jump on the tube and go.
The results don't always come as quickly as you imagine they would. Resistance will be there. It could be the structural resistance in the country. It could be lack of capital in the country. It could be a host of other headwind that causes drag.
I think you need to accept that you will fall. As the proverbial saying goes, it's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get up.
Skill set that understands that there's no magic wand to making things change.
I think critical problem solving is one of the most important skills that one can have.
I think you need to have conviction. I think you need to be persistent.
If you're an entrepreneur, your partners and your directors. If you're a team leader, is to have the right team with the right motivation that can stay the course.
I would say that doing business in Africa is incredibly rewarding, but it's also not for the faint of heart. So I think just having a positive attitude, an ability to think on your feet, solve problems, deal with difficult situations, and to adapt.
So you really need to be strong of character and be convinced that your idea is the idea and follow through with it.
You can't go far if you're not patient. You can't go far if you're not resilient.
For someone who's lived in the diaspora for most of their life, the prospect of moving back is so exciting.
An African can truly create, innovate an idea and make it global in a number of weeks.
We need to take ownership. We need to craft deals that make sense for us. We need to say no when things are not in the best interest of our people, and we need to take a long-term view.
We need the media. We need you. We need to engage. We need to disseminate this information. There has to be a sense of epidemic of positive change. And it's not just talking about it, and it's not just looking only to the government. They are there to create the enabling environment. But the people that will make the difference is you and I.
There's so much political instability in the nation, in the continent. There's infrastructural issues that need to be addressed. There's corruption. These are realities. But as the theme of the conference is Unreasonable Africa, we need to have unreasonable optimism. And if we have that, then we can create the change that we want.
I would say, when you have a dream, go for that dream. And when you have a dream, remember that there are 10 other people out there who have the same dream.